I'm glad you've decided to join us here. This is going to be a brief briefing on the GRAPPA on-site fraud management programs. We assume that you've watched the overview or that you're familiar with GRAPPA and our telecoms fraud certification programs, and that for some reason you're interested specifically in having a training event at your location. So we're going to give you a little information about our on-site training programs. This presentation will cover the following basic materials. We'll give you some information about our history, on how the curriculum was put together, and our experience in training fraud management teams around the world. We'll talk about which organizations are the best fit for this kind of program. We'll look at the key benefits that the on-site program provides the organizations that have used it. And we'll talk about what's included in the program, the 40-hour training program. We'll talk about the core curriculum and about the customization options that you have. And then we'll finish up giving you an overview of our customization approach, how we go about putting together that customized program for you, and then a little bit of information about our pricing approach. So, since 2007, GRAPPA has been involved heavily in providing live on-site fraud certification training programs for organizations around the world. We've trained over 50 teams in Europe, North America, Asia, Africa, the Middle East, and Central and Latin America using our very unique on-site fraud certification program training options. These are just a few of the different teams that we have participated with from different parts of the world, and as you can see, there's a lot of smiling faces there. We believe that training should be hard work and also should be good fun. When you're doing training for telecoms fraud management, it's a very daunting task because telecoms fraud management is a very complex, interrelated problem. You have to look at the organizational culture, the values of the different teams that you're working with. You have to learn about how to develop controls and work within your telecoms governance framework. And you have to work with internal teams, external teams, and the legal, the marketing, and the technical teams within your own organization. The training program that you're going to be hearing about is a program that we put together over the years. We spent 2 years working with some of the brightest and best telecoms fraud professionals from around the world. And you can see some of the names of the people that participated in our original curriculum development project. So people from South America, the Middle East, Europe, Southeast Asia, Africa, and we're very proud of the collaboration that we got from the GRAPPA members around the world. And we really believe that this program summarizes best practices across the industry overall. In addition to the expertise from practicing fraud managers from top telecoms around the world, we also subscribe to and heavily rely upon the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners, the IIA, the International Organization in charge of auditing, and the ISOC and other IT standards groups. So we rely heavily on these groups and build our controls and approaches upon the foundations that these organizations recommend. This training program involved the inclusion and research from over 50 books and other scholarly research materials. So we have included a lot of good best practices along with a lot of good leading edge thinking and insight into how to do fraud management in telecommunications. The teacher of the course is myself. I'm Rob Madison. I have been the manager of dozens of fraud, audit, and revenue assurance projects. I am a member of the ACFE and the IIA, and I have worked heavily with many vendors in the development of their fraud management solutions. I have a heavy background in business intelligence and statistics. I have been a fraud investigations manager for several large telecoms organizations. I also used to work in law enforcement. I was a law enforcement officer for the Oak Grove Village Police Department in the suburbs of Chicago. Technically, I was a member in good standing with the Unix International Steering Committee back when the Unix standards were being developed. And since then, I am was and still am a member in good standing of the Internet Society, the Silicon Valley chapter. The credentials that I bring to the table for the training that we do involve my work at a lot of different telecoms around the world. Most of the major wireline telecoms, including British Telecom, AT&T, China Telecom, most of the major wireless carriers, including Bharti Airtel, Orange, Bell Mobility, Turkcell, Vodafone, I have had experience working with. So the experience that I bring is quite deep. I worked for IBM in their telecommunications support practice for many years, and I also worked for Deloitte & Touche. So I bring an audit background and a very heavy IT background to the mix when it comes to these issues. So the first question people have is this kind of on-site fraud program right for me? Is this the kind of thing I should be bringing to my organization? And I got to tell you, this is not something that's right for everyone. It's expensive, it's time-consuming, it's a lot of work to set up an online training event. We find that organizations that have large fraud teams, where those teams have a mixed skills and mixed levels of experience, and the managers find that they need to standardize the approach and the vocabulary of the team and establish a baseline of knowledge for that team and better organize the team overall. On-site training is best when you're looking at the team and what you want to accomplish with the team. If you have a small team, if you can't get your team away from work for one dedicated week, if you have a team that is so mixed that you have a whole lot of different training objectives that you want to meet with different people, then this is not going to be a good choice for you, because this is a 40-hour intensive, everybody goes through it together kind of experience. So this is not a good way to get specialty training for special people on your team, and this is not a good thing if you have a heavy mix of student agendas and objectives. The optimum scenario will be that you have good team members, good morale, good performance. You as the manager want to increase your esprit de corps. You want to get people to work together as a team, get them to talk the same language, do the same things the same way. You want to build up solidarity and consistency. You want to get everyone on the same page and send a message of professionalism and unity for the team. Also, if you're looking to change the perceptions of management and legitimizing your team and getting certification and more respect for your team, these are going to be good scenarios where you're going to get a good fit from this kind of a program. The major objective should be to change the team's perception of itself, to change the organization and management's perception of the team, and to upgrade, modernize, and standardize the knowledge and approach. What you will get from this training is 40 hours of the latest best practices in the management of telecoms fraud. It'll be based on hundreds of hours of research and field study with dozens of the industry's best fraud managers, and information continuously collected, compiled, vetted, and packaged for quick and easy dissemination. So we're continuously upgrading this program, but relying heavily on those core values and core standards that we started with. So what's included in the training? We're going to include two major categories of training. We have the core curriculum and we have the custom focus areas. In the core curriculum, we cover the foundational concepts. What is telecoms fraud management? How should it be organized? What is an FMS? How should it be used? How do I design controls? And most critically, how do I manage incidents and cases? And how do I do effective diagnostics and remediation of incidents that appear? The core curriculum is about 3 days, and we can vary that a little bit, but it's about 3 days. And in that core curriculum, we cover the fraud management discipline overall, the basic fundamentals of fraud management system and analytics design. We go in depth into voice hacking and the voice controls, including voice billing and voice revenue losses due to frauds, and data hacking and data controls. We also spend 4 hours on the interconnect frauds and roaming frauds. So what we have found is that the vast majority of telecoms, These 6 areas are the key foundations that you need everybody in the team to be familiar with and have a good grounding in. So this is a sample of the core curriculum as it's presented. We usually start with the industry standard approaches and methodologies. We then go into the fraud management systems and the criminal forensics systems, the business intelligence systems and how they're used. We then cover voice telecoms into the details of SS7 hacking, the different ways that CDRs are made and spoofed, and all of the different ways that the telecom frauds teams need to be aware of how telecom's voice network works and how they can prevent frauds in those areas. We then spend 4 to 6 hours on the fundamentals of data management. So UMTS, LTE, cable, IPTV, Wi-Fi, whichever kind of data services you're offering, the fundamentals of the internet and how those are brought to bear and how fraud teams can best protect the data revenues. The core curriculum is important because, first of all, the GRAPPA certification program, which has been agreed to and voted upon by our membership, requires that core body of knowledge be covered, and that's a key ingredient of what a telecoms fraud professional is really all about. It also gets a common vocabulary and way of looking at things for your entire team to share. And it covers all of the top recognized frauds that telecom frauds teams need to be aware of. Now, in addition to the core curriculum, we allow you to specify customization options. You can ask us to give you our best recommended fit based upon knowledge about your team, in which case we do surveys, we assess their knowledge, and then we recommend a program. Or you, as the manager, can choose which additional topics, how you'd like information to go in depth. So you can go in depth. First of all, you can go in depth on the mainstream interconnect, corporate sales, and point of sale and channel frauds areas. So we can spend 2 days or more on SymBox, bypass, better running of your fraud management system, better controls design, better rules development, corporate sales, point of sale frauds, and the KYC areas. We can drill down on specific technology areas, GPRS, LTE, next generation data frauds, OTT, M2M, broadcast frauds, satellite DSL cable frauds, and a focused area on mobile money, credit card, and PCI. So we can also customize and provide coverage of different methods: fraud management system, alarms, design and controls, business intelligence use, root cause analysis of frauds, fraud remediation, how to get your team to be more proactive in the detection and the doing something about frauds that they discover, management of the overall fraud operations team, and development of the department mission, vision, and charter. So when we're done, you get a sample curriculum, and it looks like this. It's divided into 4-hour units, each focusing on a different area. So we can put together the program based upon your specific needs. The training is conducted live, face-to-face, by me, Rob Madison. The meeting facilities are set up by you. It's usually on-site at your location, but sometimes some companies will set up a hotel or an off-site location so they can get their team away from the office and better able to focus on the material. The training is 5 days, 8 hours per day. We do not do short-term 2-day, 3-day training programs. That is not efficient. Students bring a PC to the classroom with Wi-Fi, and in the classroom we will have a local Wi-Fi website set up so that they can download the handouts and so that they can take tests. So testing and handouts are distributed via the local intranet server. The class is made up of a dynamic combination of presentation, question and answer, case studies, exercises, quizzes, and tests. Now, if you're interested in putting together a program like this and sponsoring something like this at your location, what we typically do is we ask you to fill out an initial questionnaire where we determine your team makeup, look at what your goals and objectives are, find out about your preferences on a curriculum. We will then put together a high-level course outline similar to the little boxes that you just saw with maybe a little more detail. And once we agree upon the outline at that level, we'll put together a final outline for approval and prepare what we call an event guide, which is a formal proposal. So this is what an event guide actually looks like. And I'll just turn through some of the pages here. And you can see that it does a good job of detailing all the different things that are going to be included in the training. Now, pricing is a very difficult problem. And the reason it's difficult is because most people don't want to do the work of putting together the program until they have the price. But most people aren't ready to commit on the date and time until they have the program in hand. So the pricing is not dependent upon the curriculum. The customization that we do is no extra charge, and the training is one set fee. We do not charge for the number of people in the room. We can usually handle a maximum of 20 or 25 people. There are discounts available for alumni, key accounts. There's our regional discounts, and there are bundles for training combined with our online. But for the most part, price is dependent upon time and place. So when you want it and where it needs to be held is going to be the biggest determinant of price. And that's why we cannot just give you one price and say, here's the price so you can work with it. So travel is a major component, and you tell us when and where, and we can give you a rough estimate. So if you are interested, we have one survey that you can fill out. There will be some links for you to click, one for the pricing option and one for the curriculum building option.